Hey everyone, I'm Mark Ernstman and welcome to my video blog, On the Mark. Today we're going to talk about leadership and specifically those traits and characteristics we want to see in our leaders. So there's this great book, it's called The Leadership Challenge, written by Barry Posner and Jim Kouzes. And over the last 30 years or so, these guys have gone out and they have interviewed and surveyed literally thousands of people from across the world. And they've asked them all the same question. What characteristics do you want to see in your leaders? Now, they define a leader as someone you would willingly follow. So when people were answering the question, they were thinking of those characteristics of people they want to follow. Now, they came up with a list of 20 plus characteristics, and we're not going to cover all of those today, but I want to focus on the top 4. So we'll start with number 4, and we'll work our way up to number 1 to add a little suspense to our conversation today. So the 4th most popular characteristic that we want to see in our leaders is the ability to inspire. So this can show up different ways. It shows up as passion, shows up as excitement, as enthusiasm, as energy. But what we're looking for is someone who can give meaning to the job we're doing. Someone who can give us reason to come to work other than a paycheck. Someone to inspire us. The 3rd most popular trait or characteristic is competence. We want our leaders to be competent, and it's competent in the job they have. So for a CEO, you don't need to know everything there is about coding an application. Or as a director of development, you don't need to know everything there is about strategic planning or maybe the business aspects that are required to run the organization. But you do need to be competent in the job you have. And you need to have credibility in that role. So competence is the 3rd most popular characteristic. The 2nd most popular characteristic we look for in our leaders is forward-looking. As a leader, do you have a vision? And are you able to articulate that vision in vivid ways for your team to understand? Are you able to describe the organization and what it will look like in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, in 5 years, or whatever that time frame might be? And that doesn't have to be a vision for the entire organization. If you're the leader of a 5-person PMO, do you have a vision for that 5-person organization? And can you articulate that vision to your team? So forward-looking, the 2nd most popular characteristic we look for in our leaders. Now before we get to number 1, note that 2 through 25 can kind of jumble and scramble around based on the timing and based on the research. So inspiring might be number 2 at some point, competence might be number 7 at some point. But number 1 has always been number 1. It shows up on more than 90% of the surveys and the questionnaires and the interviews that our friends did for the research in their book. And that number 1 trait or characteristic that we look for in our leaders is honesty. We want our leaders to be honest, both in what they say and in what they do. In terms of saying, are they telling us the truth regardless of whether it's good or bad? Or are they just telling us what we want to hear? Are they being truthful in their conversations with us? And also, are they truthful and honest in the way they act? Do they subscribe to principles, morals? Do they have integrity And then do they act on that as well? So not only do they talk the talk, but do they walk the walk as well? Honesty. We want our leaders to be honest. The number one trait or characteristic that we want to see. So, as a leader or an aspiring leader, remember this list. Are you inspiring your team? Are you giving them a reason and meaning to come to work? Are you competent? And are you demonstrating that competence in the job you have? Do you have a vision? And are you able to articulate that vision for your organization? And most of all, most important, are you honest? That's it for the blog today. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you.